sure a lot of you guys saw it. But Haaland went crazy, and I think now it's Mexico against England, and they're still tied. I think we're what, like 40 minutes, 50 minutes in, and it's still tied. Keep me updated in questions channel if anyone scores. Haaland too tough, bro. He really is. He really is. He waited until like the 70th minute to score twice, and then Brazil had a last minute goal. It was crazy. If anyone's in the TikTok live, by the way, wondering about my screen share, that's in the Discord. So make sure if you're on TikTok, make sure you get in the Discord because I'm streaming. I've got 5 different stocks, maybe 6, we'll see, to go over, and then of course we'll have a whole section of answering questions. So I put my mortgage on Norway. Jake, you didn't put a dime on Norway. And I was telling Jake, I didn't put a dime either. I should have. But I saw it at like 30%. Crazy. Um, I didn't even put a nickel. Yeah, I wish I did. I wish I did. But I'm not getting into sports betting. That's horrible. Anyways, guys, like I said, you can send questions in the question channel, but let's start off. I'm going to start us off with crypto because crypto is going crazy right now. Then I want to move to the OpenAI IPO, and then we'll talk about a couple stocks I've got here, which I made a YouTube video just going over like the basics on them. I wanted to get a little bit more detailed in them. So we'll start off with Bitcoin. Then I want to talk about where the market is at right now, and we'll wrap things off with questions because I want to give you guys updates on my holdings and how the market is kind of affecting what I'm doing with those holdings. Because we're at all-time highs. We've got so many stocks that people, I mean, it happens every few years, but just not like a crash, but or a bubble even, but stocks just go up way too high. It doesn't make sense. There's a huge pullback, like we saw with Palantir hitting 200 plus, and then anyone who bought Palantir a year ago, I can actually show you guys while I'm streaming here. Anyone who bought Palantir a year ago is now down. So it's like you wasted an entire year buying this stock. And that's what I think is going to happen to a lot of people that are buying into Micron or buying into SanDisk, just based off, there we go, just based off what we've seen time and time again. Like the worst time you can buy a stock is when everyone and their mom and their mom's mom and their mom's dog is already in, and buying at all-time highs, right? Like what we were talking about not that long ago with the SpaceX IPO. That's not something you wanted to buy after it went live, and look what happened since then. It's really pulled back. Exactly like we thought would happen based off what we saw with Cerebras, which pulled back from the IPO pump. So let's go over crypto. Then we'll keep things going. The first thing I wanted to say, which we've actually gone over this, this will be the third call now that we've gone over this chart. This is kind of the theory that it bottoms out every 360-ish days. And here we are. So 365-ish days about, or 364, and it tops out every about 1,060 to 1,070 days. So we're actually pretty much seeing that happen again. And I wanted to put a lot of emphasis on where the market is right now as far as updates. So we are seeing MicroStrategy buy. We're seeing a lot of these smaller Bitcoin mining companies, but also pretty much everything related to crypto up a lot this week, especially over the weekend. So the the ETF that tracks Bitcoin, the one I've been buying, IBIT, that is up already 3.5% in the overnight hours. It's going to make me a lot of money tomorrow. I'm actually finally going to be up on my position, which is so cool to see because we did just start averaging in pretty heavily. This is, of course, my position that I sell covered calls on. So I make about 100% or just under, it's like 80% a year just through covered calls on this position. And then if Bitcoin goes up, I make money too. But if it goes down or it goes flat, I'm still making money from those covered calls. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to make sure I include alerts for every time that I sell a covered call on this because I sell covered calls on all my stocks and all my positions. I'm always selling covered calls. However, this one is a very important one. So I'm going to alert the exact strikes, the exact premium I'm getting, everything like that if you guys want to follow along with me. Because it's not like the biggest investment ever you have to make to have 100 shares. It's like $3,500, give or take a little, depending if you're buying on a green or red week, really. So if you have a bigger portfolio, you can make a ton of money. If you have a smaller portfolio, well, you might as well start accumulating IBIT shares to eventually sell covered calls instead of just buying straight up Bitcoin, because you can't sell covered calls on Bitcoin, right? Same with XRP and Ethereum, although I'm sure there's some kind of ETF for those as well. Thank you, Matsara, for the gift. Nice hat, even though I'm already wearing a hat. That's going to go straight to the portfolio. But like I said, if you guys are on TikTok Live and you want to see the stream, it is being streamed on Discord, open, completely free to everyone. So for IBIT, is it too late to buy, or should we be cramming in our orders right now? Well, I actually, believe it or not, like usually when we see big moves up, I'm like, okay, I gotta hold off. I'll wait till it pulls back down. But considering where we are overall with Bitcoin and how the market is really changing its sentiment right now, where like you only hear bullish news for crypto. I mean, altcoins are going crazy. Usually in July, it does very well. Um, the case for Bitcoin is really changing, it feels like. It feels like we could be bottoming out, and if we're not bottoming out now, it could be like the theory goes here that we've seen worked out every single time before in Bitcoin's history, that it bottoms out this year as soon as November of 2026. So if I were buying IBIT now, or we'll use Bitcoin here for an example, if I were buying, even if it were to drop a good bit like it has been, it wouldn't take too long, realistically, according to what we've seen already, for me to go back up to break even and maybe starting to make a lot of money. So that's something to keep in mind. So my answer to just like waiting for a red week or buy now would actually be to if I'm not actively buying shares, maybe sell some cash secured puts to be forced to pick up shares. So expect some crypto related alerts, whether it's IBIT, whether it's MSTR. We could be day or swing trading that. A lot of our analysts, when things get volatile with crypto, they like to take crypto related positions or gold or silver related positions. We just had gold puts while gold was falling, which ran for 400%. Those were alerted, I think, 2 weeks ago. And it was on this move down. So those went 400% a day. When the volatility picks up, obviously you can make a lot of money trading options on these metals or crypto related companies. So expect alerts for those, and for IBIT, expect. So I'm just accumulating alerts. Really, I do want to buy more IBIT. Let's talk about the OpenAI IPO. So if you haven't been living under a rock, or if you have been actually, because maybe some of you guys don't follow me on TikTok, which you should if you're not already, because I'm posting daily. Trump is looking to take a 5% stake in OpenAI, but it's not just that. It looks like OpenAI is going to straight up gift it to him. So that's very interesting because SpaceX just IPO, they went crazy. Cerebras went crazy. I know it doesn't look like it, but you have to remember it was up 100% on the first day because their IPO pricing was all the way down here. So they were up a ton. These stocks went absolutely parabolic. OpenAI is ChatGPT. It's like SpaceX. Everyone knows it's going to come out. I would argue more money would be made potentially profits wise in OpenAI than SpaceX because it's not, Elon Musk, and it's just like super relevant right now with every company it's integrated. Basically, it is AI. Like it's basically going to be the only other kind of founding father for this AI movement besides Nvidia, right? So I think it could go crazy. Um, but then we have to remember not to buy. I personally won't be buying after the IPO. So I won't be buying into this. I'll be buying the IPO request. If I don't get shares for the IPO request, I will probably do a limit order. So expect an alert for that. But anyways, to get to my point about Trump taking a stake, why is it so important? Well, obviously we saw how Intel did. Intel ran an absurd amount. An absurd amount. I alerted Intel at 19 bucks. Right now it's 120, but it was just 141, 42 actually dollars per share. And this is pretty much only because Trump bought. Almost only. Like, yes, they're doing a lot in the US. That was my original thesis, that they would be highly favored, but not directly by the president. So it did extremely well. And what else did well? Another stock that Trump talked about a ton. Dell. What else did well? Another stock that Trump talked about a ton. Eli Lilly. What is the ticker for that? Let's see. Is it LLY? There we go. Okay, this did extremely well too. And then you look at pretty much any other company that he shouts out, like Palantir did well. Palantir gapped up a ton over here after Trump shouted them out. It went from 123, which you don't, yeah, here we go, 123, all the way up to 165. So if Trump is taking a 5% stake, he hasn't taken a stake that big since Intel. I'll show you guys the Intel chart, even though it's getting repetitive. If that's what Intel did on a 10% stake, OpenAI IPOing with Trump holding 5%, and you can imagine he's probably going to be tweeting about it a lot on Twitter or whatever, X and Truth Social. It's probably going to pump the stock a lot. So that's one to definitely try and set some buying power aside. They already filed their S1, so OpenAI's IPO is very real. It's pretty much happening. I think they legally have to be out within 35 days of filing their S1, but I don't know what step they got to. I just know they started that process. So 2026, yes. But within like a month, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll be saving cash just in case. I don't want to feel like I'm forced to close positions just for cash for the IPO, but I'm gonna make that a six-figure IPO request for sure. And then let's go over here to Amazon and Alibaba. I want to just show you guys, before I answer any questions you guys might have, I want to show you guys a little chart thing I put together here. Just some super, super basic analysis of what it would have looked like to buy dips before Q4. So anytime the stock was in a downtrend, and of course for Q4, which is when these two see the highest revenue by far. And usually, highest margins, highest everything, highest EPS, things like that. So considering both Alibaba, I mean, this one's off a cliff, but Amazon as well have both kind of pulled back. Let's talk about buying these before this Q4, and then we'll get to questions. So we'll start with Alibaba. It's got 100% upside, and I'll go quick because I know I already made a YouTube video about this, but Alibaba, 100% upside. Amazon, not as much. I think it's like 31%. So, and analysts are super bullish. Let's see for Alibaba, analysts are super bullish, especially at these prices. So both look pretty good. On my YouTube video, I'll cut to the chase here. I voted on Alibaba as the better buy for right now because it's got more upside, and we've seen huge moves up from this price before. It's basically lost, like a decade, even though a decade of stock progress, even though their earnings are actually doing well. It's just selling off a lot with FXI going down, which is the Chinese equivalent to the S&P 500. But we'll make this quick. If you bought Q4 when the stock was in this dip, then you would have made a ton of money, or ahead of Q4, I mean, you would have made a lot of money. If you bought this dip ahead of Q4, you would have made a ton of money. You would have made, let's see, a move up from 80 to $200. Over 100%. You're looking at like 150% gain depending on your fill. If you bought the year before while it was on a dip in Q4, you would have gone from 65 to 82. That might not sound crazy. It could be like, okay, well that's not as much as SanDisk did or not as much as Micron did or whatever. But you have to think about it in terms of beating the S&P 500. If you put this into, or if you put some extra money you have into a safe stock like Alibaba at these prices, and you outperform the S&P 500 by multiples, that's pretty good. And it's not a position you have to stress out about, really. If you did the same thing, could have bought at 58 and sold the next year at 68. Again, the smaller the numbers go, the percentages are getting a lot better. So then this time you would have lost. This time you would have lost unless you got a good fill. You could have made, 200 all the way up to 258. That would have been crazy. But I'm just giving you guys, like, if you would have held for a very long time, then yeah, you would have lost. But if you're doing what I'm doing, which is swing trading until a profit target, you could have made 25, 26% on this one, and then on this time would have been your only loss. If you did the year before, right, you're going from 166 bucks to a peak of $300. That's huge. Before it was 124 going up to 167 and so on. This one would have been a loss, but you could have swing traded it for a huge gain. So you get the point. If you're on time with your entries and you're really paying attention, you're buying the dips and selling the massive moves up, you can make a lot. Look at this, $85 turned into $163, and that wasn't even the top. That was just the next Q4. So if you trade this the right way, you can make a lot of money. I'm not saying call options. I'm not saying leverage shares even, maybe just straight up shares. Maybe leverage shares while it's in a really big downtrend. But I wouldn't try and time it too well. I would just, let it do its thing and not just have it be something that you don't stress out about. Amazon will make this even quicker. It's pretty much always an uptrend. It's just with Amazon, you're looking at slightly less returns on average, and that's why Alibaba specifically had my boat. But it's not always going to be like that. There could be, like, maybe next Q4, I'm going to say Amazon looks like it has more upside. So we'll see. Amazon was literally just at an $80 price. I feel like this was yesterday. I bought Amazon here at 80 bucks. It paid off extremely well. I didn't hold my shares. Well, I didn't hold a significant amount of shares till right now. But it seems like every Q4 you regret not picking up Amazon. Same with Alibaba. So I'll keep you guys updated on these. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And then I want to talk about, should have mentioned this at the start, I'm doing a $1,000 giveaway because I made $20,000 investing last week on my alerts. So I'm doing a completely free to enter $1,000 giveaway. That info is going to be posted tomorrow morning, very early in the morning. I'm going to post it in the announcements channel. I'm thinking what we're going to do is like 1,000 to one person. And then in the future, we'll do like $100 to maybe 10 people or 500 to 2 people. But just for this one, I want to make it very, I want to basically give whoever wins a good amount of money so they can sell covered calls in a cheap stock, or they can put that all into like Oracle at these prices or whatever. So I'll reveal exactly how to enter that. Just make sure that you're in the Discord, that you have your notifications for the server turned on, because it'll only be a pretty short amount of time that you can qualify, even though it's completely free to enter. You don't even have to be in VIP to qualify. But we'll do some more VIP only giveaways, of course, because I love doing those. We've given away, well, I've given away like, I don't know, I think we're at like $4,100. So going crazy here, but it's just profits that I'm making. So I'm very happy to give back to the community. Guys, comment in the, or leave comments in the questions channel of the Discord. If you're on TikTok, feel free to drop your comments now because I'll be able to answer them. And so we'll kind of bounce back and forth between the question channel and then the TikTok live. But make sure to ping me, or you can ping Jake if you have a question for one of his positions. Jake, do we have a poker tournament today we're doing, by the way? Because I've got a 50K. Makes sense. Okay. Okay. So we've got a 50K options funded account for the winner. So whoever wins that is going to get a free 50K funded account for options. If you end up winning that, make sure to send me a screenshot of any profits you make. I can send those over to the owners of the prop firm, and they'll give me more accounts to give you guys for free. So if anyone here is a funded trader and wants $50,000 worth of options funding, join that poker tournament in the Discord, and good luck. So we'll start that after. I'll answer questions first. And then, just so you know, aside from all the announcements I've made, if you want to try out VIP, considering I alerted a 414% gainer last week, I had a ton of alerts that ran for 50, 30, and 35%. And then we had analysts that had alerts that ran for 300%, two for 100%. So if you want to try out VIP and really scale your trading, then make sure to check out. I sent in the Trade With Us channel, I sent a promo code for VIP that's going to save you a ton on your first month if you're joining monthly. So if anyone wants that, message me. If you're on TikTok, then message me. You can say VIP or discount, promo code, whatever. Say you're from the live, something like that. I'll get that to you. And then if you're in the Discord, you can just look at the Trade With Us channel and you'll see it there. Also, I appreciate all the follows on TikTok, guys. And I noticed some people were even going from Discord to TikTok to follow me. I really appreciate that, guys. I'm going to go live as much as I can. And obviously, I post daily there. So until we get Instagram back, most of my lives and stuff is going to be specifically on TikTok. Okay, let's answer some questions here. Let's see. Oh, it's a super important question. We got Mexico or England. And actually, are we still 0-0? Can someone tell me in the question channel, are we 0-0 right now? I think Mexico could win, but I feel like someone's going to say 1-0 England because it's a close game, or it's been a close game. 0-0. Okay. Golly. I think Mexico will take it, though. I know it's 50-50 on the odds and stuff, but I think Mexico can take it. Thoughts on XRP? I'm actually sticking to Bitcoin instead of XRP, but if you can get XRP at like $1, I don't think that's a bad hold to buy and just completely forget about. don't make the mistake of taking quick profits on XRP because that thing rips when obviously the market is doing well for crypto. The market's doing well. The market's at all-time highs. It's been at all-time highs. It feels like every week it's, surpassing another peak, but crypto is just lagged behind. There could be a time where it's an inverse, where XRP and Bitcoin are absolutely taking off and the market's lagging behind. So if you just buy XRP at like a buck or under $1 and then forget about it, or really Bitcoin under 100K, which obviously it is right now, and just forget about it, I don't think that's bad at all. I'm not gonna get in an argument with you about something like that that on a very, very regular basis outperforms the S&P 500, which is what I like to do. What do you think about ServiceNow and Microsoft? I think that's a question for Jake, actually, if you want to answer that. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I actually saw a lot of very positive articles and just videos in general about Microsoft recently where people are, I think, finally catching on. Me and Jake. Jake, did you ever alert Microsoft? Nice. Awesome. So me and Jake are both in, and I feel like people are finally catching on. I think Jake, you're already up. My average I think is like 365 on Microsoft. So we're up on our investment, and I think the market is really catching on to Microsoft's like huge pivot into AI, which could pay off extremely well for the next decade, 2 decades. I think it's really going to allow them to not only dominate the quantum sector, but also dominate the AI sector. It's going to help them do a lot, and I think people are finally catching on. Now we'll see how long it takes to see that with Oracle as well. Can Oracle drop more? I'd love for it to. I would love for Oracle to keep falling. It's still above where I bought, but I would love for it to keep falling so I can buy at a lower price. And then someone said, this is important. Someone said there are so many scammers pretending to be you. I know there's like 1,000 accounts. So I don't message you guys. If you message me asking for like the Discord link or like a VIP discount code, I'll message you back, but I'm not going to message you or follow you first. Are you buying Oracle leverage under 135? I'll probably start picking it up again. Oracle will collapse? I doubt it. I doubt it. Any thoughts on Iron? Actually, no. Although I guess if you really wanted like just my any thoughts about it at all, I would say that they're making a lot of moves marketing and publicity wise. They've got a very big ad budget. They just did one of the biggest deals in sports history to just put their logo on jerseys. And I mean, it's pulled back a lot. Let me see their stock price right now because I said I don't have thoughts about them, but because I like the company, I just don't like the stock price. I think if it gets to the very low 30s, like it was super recently back in April and March, then I would consider it. It's just an incredibly high price to sales ratio. It feels like gambling to me. It feels like buying SanDisk or Micron right now, where it's like it doesn't make sense, where I can buy a handful of other stocks that could do just as much without risking so much. Let's see. We'll do a couple more questions here. Meta seems cheap. Meta seems very cheap, and under $600, I think Meta looks very attractive. I had a very good, if anyone's been in VIP for more than like 2 months, back in March, I alerted Meta at 500, basically $500. It was like 530, and that went all the way up to 600 or yeah, $690 super quickly. It was one of my better trades because it was such a huge investment. Like it wasn't the biggest move up percentage wise, but I put so much money in there, it really paid off. And we're almost back to the point where I will be able to do that again because right now it's 587. Um, and that's after going up a little bit in overnight hours, but very recently is 541. We're talking about like last week, really. If it can just have two, I would say give it 1.5 or 2 more red weeks and I'm in. Meta just seems really cheap. I wouldn't want to bet against Mark Zuckerberg in the long run. I think investors are just too scared right now. They're too scared. And with all the things they're doing, all the new products, all their AI investments as well, I think they're set up extremely well. And I think the market isn't catching on to like the OGs, like Oracle, Amazon, Meta, all those stocks that have dominated in the past, and Microsoft, if I didn't say that already, stocks that have dominated in the past. Now it's like we're leaving them behind to go gamble on SanDisk and Micron, etc. So I think those could really pay off. Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, you want to take Figma and I'll take Oracle? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, anyone on the stream, I just highlighted where Jake had his entry, which is not the absolute bottom, but it sure does look like it when you zoom out. It looks pretty amazing as far as just an entry in the stock historically. Probably the best time you could have bought in the last few months because you wouldn't have had to deal with this huge fire, just horrible candle, right? So he got in almost perfectly, especially with the latest average. And it's got, look, let's scroll down here. It's got crazy upside. So it's still 52% upside according to professional analysts. That's already after, Jake has taken a big gain so far. It's over $21 now. And what your alert was at like 17 bucks, 17, 18? Nice, awesome. So and something I want to add to all the great things you already said is look at Klarna. This is a stock I just made a ton of money on. Everyone was hating, especially on TikTok. Everyone was hating on Klarna. Now it is a $20 stock when I was buying it at 12 bucks. This is a stock that got sold off for the IPO and now the market is catching back on. Let's look at another one that did the exact same thing. There's actually couple more I could bring up, but these are like one-to-one examples basically. Pattern got sold off all the way down to $9 for the IPO. Now it is a $30 stock. Now we're just waiting for Figma to do the same thing basically. Figma looks really good, especially under 20, which is where it appears to have bottomed out. There's some other good examples, but those are probably the best ones I could show. So yeah, keep your eyes out on Figma. Jake will definitely alert more entries if he sees another good opportunity. And then for Oracle, Oracle right now is dangerously close to where I made my $135, $30,000 buy, right? So I'm very close to maybe doubling down. I do want to buy a lot more Oracle, do want to buy some leveraged Oracle. Now, someone asked, are we thinking that it could hit all-time highs later this year? I really don't need it to. I don't think that's realistic. Analysts seem to think that by mid 2027, that we could have about an 80% move back up, which I think is crazy. I think it's super doable because we were just at 250. All the way up here, we were just at $250. I think that is doable. What I think is crazy would be all-time highs, like for it to go back to 330, because I mean, there's no catalyst big enough that I think could send it to that immediately. but maybe 2, 3 years down the line, I think it's very possible, especially with how bullish analysts are on it right now. 81% upside, you don't see that for a tech stock as big as Oracle. You don't see that. So if analysts are already so bullish on it for this year, what about next year? What about the year after? Once their huge bet on AI is already really paying off, which it is. We already saw three back-to-back-to-back earnings beats by good numbers too, when everyone thought it was going to be a lot worse. But yeah, what happens when they keep doing their thing and it just gets better, right? The stock price could hit all-time highs maybe within 1.5 or 2 years. So I don't need it to be by the end of this year. I don't need it to be at all. As a matter of fact, I would want it to drop even more so I can buy more, and then maybe in a year from now, once I've got maybe like 50,000 or 60,000 in this position, or relative to however much you guys are holding, maybe adding another 50, 100%, something like that, in a year or two is going to be a lot more if we keep averaging in. So right now, the goal is just to acquire more shares. But guys, send any more questions you have in the questions channel. Make sure to ping me because I'm going to individually answer them. If you haven't already and you want to join VIP and start trading with us as soon as tomorrow morning, which is when our next alerts are going to be, message me. If you're on TikTok, message me for just say VIP. I want to join the VIP Discord. If you're in the Discord already, then go to the Trade With Us channel and there's a discount code in there. It's, I think, the biggest one we've done since Christmas. So if you want to join, you can do so through there. Jake's about to start the poker tournament for VIP members. That one, by the way, the winner gets a 50K funded account. So remember that. And then the other big giveaway is tomorrow. That's going to be, yes, I'm screen sharing on Discord. It's just in the community. It's a free stream, though. You don't have to pay for any of that. We do these weekly. But the other big thing is going to be the $1,000 giveaway that I announce tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to show you guys all you need to do to enter the $1,000 giveaway for free. Guys, have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow for alerts.